everyone. So today we're going to talk about, are you eating right for your brain type? About food for different types of, issues that people have, like anxiety or low moods or lack of focus, brain fog, things like that. So I put together a little slideshow for you, and we're going to go through this and talk about, are you eating right for your brain type? If you've gone to our website, amenclinic.com, and taken our brain health assessment, you got back this brain type, okay? And there's 16 different brain types. We're not going to go through 16 different diets because that's not really what you need to do. Really, we're going to boil it down to just a few different ways to eat. Are you over-focused? Do you need to increase your focus? Do you need to have a balanced diet? And we're going to just sort of talk about what that means. So let's go through it. So I put together this little slideshow. I need to get it to sort of focus for you. Are you eating right for your brain type? So let's take a look at what it looks like. If you have, hopefully you guys can see this. If you have a balanced brain, it's pretty even and symmetrical. It means there's no holes, okay? So that means the holes mean lack of blood flow to certain parts of the brain. And this here means that it's not overactive. It's just got the perfect amount of activity, most of the activity in the back, and this is even and symmetrical. That means you would eat more of a balanced diet. And in our case, what that means is about 70% plant-based foods, 30% high quality protein, and not low fat, because your brain needs fat and you want to stay well hydrated. But it's really just our general guidelines for nutrition, which if you've joined our class or you've been on our websites, you'll know what that is. It's 70-30. So then I want to talk about the next brain type. This is a very busy brain. Okay, so people who have overactive brains, like this one is crazy overactive, not that the person is crazy, I mean it's like a very overactive brain, that person is going to want to eat like smart carbs. Because if that person were to go on something like a super high protein diet, say a ketogenic type diet, what can happen is they're already over focused. So some of the words to describe this personality, think about if you have this. Over focused, a little bit, people describe you as obsessive compulsive. We're not talking about the label obsessive compulsive, but people describe you that way. You can be sort of anxiety driven. Don't let things go. If things don't go your way, you get a little irritable. So if you go on a ketogenic type diet, it will help you focus even more, like on the things you don't like. So you want to be very careful about not having too much fat and protein dominating your diet. You want some smart carbs. The mistake people make is they add the wrong carbs, and they do it intuitively. They put sugar in their diet or things like that because it calms them down, because it increases serotonin. Problem is you're actually increasing also inflammation and other problems and causing diabetes and stuff like that. We want you focusing on smart carbs. An example of a perfect breakfast would be something like a smoothie. Okay, so because you're going to put protein and fat in there also, but you can add some berries and lots of greens, and you can put the right kinds of carbohydrates in there to help to settle this person down. A mid-afternoon snack of, say, an apple with some almond butter. So might help to settle this person down, or a sweet potato. Those are smart carbs. That's what we think of. The next scan I want to show you, if you can see this, and I know these cameras aren't that great, this is the opposite. So this is, instead of an overactive, this is more of an underactive brain. Those holes mean a lack of blood flow to that area. And so the words you might hear to describe this: brain fog, sleepy brain. They tend to be more spontaneous, impulsive, risk takers. So people with that brain type will want the opposite type of diet as that overactive brain. They're going to want to avoid any simple carbs and focus on, especially breakfast, focus on protein and fat. Think of eggs and veggies, or avocado. Eggs, so protein and fat. Avocado is perfect. If you do a smoothie, put some coconut butter or something in there like that. Put that fat in there and make sure you've got your protein. That's going to be your underactive brain. Next brain, PTSD. And this was one of the questions, and that's the reason I put this in here. See how busy that is? But it makes a diamond pattern. So PTSD is emotional trauma, not physical trauma. And the problem is that we get a lot of questions about this, and someone thought that they were supposed to eat like 4 times the amount of carbs of someone else, but she specifically thought it was sugar. That is actually really bad for you, because sugar causes erratic brain cell firing, and it causes it causes your slow brain waves to actually overactivate. You don't want to do that. You want to do the same thing I just talked about, those smart carbs that I just talked about in the last one. So sweet potatoes, apples, things like that, berries for breakfast will settle you down without giving you diabetes. So think about adding that to your morning. Now, here's the trick with PTSD. I'm going to show you another slide. This is the emotional trauma I just showed you. They can have an overlapping problem of, say, having underactive frontal lobes. So it's a combination. Let's get to this. So overactive in their emotional brain, but underactive in, say, the part of their brain that is executive functioning, so they can have that impulsiveness. So now you need to do a balanced diet. So you want those smart carbs, but you got to add that protein and fat, or else they're going to have that brain fog, right? So make sure you're doing a combo diet for that person. Oh, one of the favorites. People don't believe in PMS until they see our scans. So the people who come to our clinics for PMS are because they've got serious issues. So if you see this scan, that's a really healthy frontal lobe. And if you see this scan, this is the same person. Best time of her cycle, about day 10. Worst time of her cycle, about day 25, day 26. So that means what's happening, and the way one of our patients described it, prepare to meet Satan. Not my words, just telling you. Because we see people who have really struggled during this time of their cycle. What happens during that time, so you see she's got a really healthy brain normally. Then all of a sudden during that time in her cycle, bam, those frontal lobes just drop. So that executive functioning drops like crazy. But another thing happens. Not just does the executive functioning drop, meaning she's more impulsive, things like that, but the rest of her brain, the emotional part of her brain, lights up and is on fire. So now, she can't let things go. She's irritable. She's angry. Like everything has to go her way, and she can't control what she says. So she's spontaneous and impulsive. So this is someone who normally would eat a balanced diet. That 70-30, she's very low key. Her brain is really healthy and pretty. And then all of a sudden, that last week of her cycle, you want to make sure, if you know you're one of these people, really pay attention. You've got to give these people smart carbs and exercise. So things like sweet potatoes, sugar-free chocolate is a great thing to help with this. Making sure you go for a walk, doing some stuff to settle that down is going to be really helpful. That's cyclical eating. Okay, so that's cyclical because it's not all the time. Next. Oh, we're done. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all next week.